I'm Dr. K. Sangeeta, Associate Professor, Department of Agriculture Biotechnology. In this lecture, I will discuss on the types of media. Media is an environment which supplies the ingredients necessary for the growth of microorganisms. It is done to isolate, grow, and identify microorganisms. Microorganisms are invisible to our eyes, so we need a platform to grow the microorganisms so that it can grow in the form of a colony, and we could locate and isolate the microorganisms for our further use, for our further studies, for physiological or biochemical and other research purposes. Based on the composition, media can be classified into two types: chemically defined media, synthetic complex media. Chemically defined media, in the chemically defined media, the exact chemical composition is known. Example, glucose, inorganic salt phosphate for the growth of E. coli. In that, we can include the two ingredients, glucose and also many inorganic salt phosphate. So here, in the composition, we are adding glucose. So one ingredient with a defined purpose, or the ingredient is specifically known to us, or two things, it is glucose and inorganic salt phosphate. That's why it is called as a chemically defined media. So what is complex media? Complex media are non-synthetic in nature, but they provide the source of vitamins, proteins, and other nitrogenous sources, but they are extracted directly from the sources like yeast, beef extract, also all the other sources, and also vitamins are added to that. So hence the chemical composition is not specifically defined. So it is directly taken as from the yeast extract. From the yeast it is extracted as a powder, and also from the meat it is extracted as a powder, and also from the beef it is extracted as a powder. Or also sometimes the ingredients that is necessary from the plants are also extracted and used for the growth of the microorganisms. So example for that is nutrient broth. One of the common example, nutrient agar, mechanchi, eosin, methylene, blue agar. These are a few examples for a complex media. Nutrient agar has a composition of peptone, yeast extract, sodium chloride, and agar. So it is a very common basal medium that is used. So you can see the growth of the microorganisms in a medium here. According to consistency, the media is divided into three parts, that is solid, liquid, and a semi-solid medium. So solid media mostly has the agar composition of 1.5 to 3% of agar. The common example for that is nutrient agar. And the next one is liquid medium. In the liquid medium, there will not be any solidifying agent. So the common here, the other ingredients will be there like peptone you can add, or yeast extract, but there will not be any agar. Agar will not be adding it. So hence the consistency will be in the form of a liquid. Hence it is called as nutrient broth. Next is a semi-solid medium with less than 1.5% agar it will be having. So it will be in the mid consistency between the solid and the liquid. The common example for that is sulfide indole motility medium. So here especially what is the common purpose for growing the semi-solid medium is to locate or observe the motility of the microorganisms, whether the grown microorganism is motile or not, or also to make it convenient to mobilize also, this semi-solid medium is always used. So next, also the media is classified based on the function or the applications. So based on the common applications, we can categorize the media into 7 categories: basal or ordinary media, enriched media, enrichment media, selective media with inhibitory substances, differential media with indicators and dyes, and special media for biochemical testing, and media for special purposes or assays like antimicrobial susceptibility testing. What is basal media? Basal media will allow the growth of the non-fastidious microorganisms. Non-fastidious microorganisms refers the common or general microorganisms which does not require any specific nutrients, which could be able to grow in the with the simple or the basic nutrients. So what is the composition of this? It is composed of beef extract, peptone, and NaCl. So the common example is, as I discussed, it is nutrient broth, and in the case of agar, it is nutrient agar. So here in only that 1 to 2% of agar is added. So in this basal medium, we can grow the normal microorganisms or which does not require any specific or special nutrients for its growth, like E. coli, Vibrio cholerae, and Staphylococcus aureus. In case of gram-positive microorganisms, we can grow in the basal media. What is differential media? Next is the differential media. The differential media enables to differentiate the two type of microorganisms by their characteristic growth. One is blood agar and another one is McConkey agar. So this could help you to differentiate the two species of microorganisms between that, or also even the two genera of the microorganisms can be differentiated on the utilization of a particular medium. So blood agar is one of the common example of this differential media. In the preparation of blood agar, nutrient agar is prepared first. To that, 5% of sheep blood is added. So this becomes the blood agar. So when the nutrient agar is added with 5% sheep blood, it becomes blood agar. This blood agar is used to grow the microorganisms which require some important factors that is present in the blood. So these microorganisms are called as fastidious microorganisms which require some specific nutrients that is present in the blood. So, and this helps to differentiate the fastidious and the non-fastidious bacteria. It is an example for differential media and helps to differentiate the microorganisms based on their pattern of growth in the blood agar. So this is a type of pattern of growth exhibited by the microorganisms in the blood agar. So the A1 represents the beta hemolysis pattern of microorganism grown on the blood agar. B represents the alpha hemolysis pattern of the growth in the blood agar, and C represents the gamma hemolysis growth in the blood agar. So in this blood agar plate, you could be able to see that the beta hemolysis, the complete hemolysis has been taken place in the A. And in the B, there is a partial hemolysis pattern, and C is an incomplete hemolysis. Only the bacteria has grown on the surface of the blood agar plate, but it has not utilized the blood. So there is no hemolysis. That is, there is no lysis of the blood. So if you see the A plate, you could be able to see the organisms has fully utilized their RBCs and have lysed the cells. You can see the complete hemolysis and change the red color of the plate to the without any, that is, lighter background or like that. B is there's a partial hemolysis. Partially it has utilized the nutrients. C is that there is an incomplete hemolysis. It has not at all utilized. So we can see that, I can see a few examples also for this beta hemolysis. Streptococcus so mostly the genera of Streptococcus is categorized based on the beta hemolysis, alpha hemolysis, and gamma hemolysis pattern. Next is McConkey agar. If you take McConkey agar, the gram-positive bacteria are inhibited by the presence of bile salts and crystal violet inhibitors in the medium. It is mostly used to differentiate the gram-negative bacteria by their ability to ferment lactose. So these, under the category of gram-negative microorganisms, a few will utilize the lactose and a few will not utilize the lactose. So based on that, we can categorize them into lactose fermenters and non-lactose fermenters. Those that are lactose fermenters will appear pink in color and that would ferment lactose. So due to the fermentation of the lactose, they appear pink in color, and that is influenced by the change in the pH of the medium. And especially the example for that is E. coli, Escherichia coli. The pale colonies, the microorganisms may grow on that agar medium, but would not be able to utilize the sugar lactose, and it will not at all ferment the sugar lactose. They are categorized as non-fermenters. Example is E. coli, that is Klebsiella pneumoniae. So these non-fermenters, Klebsiella pneumoniae, so these between these E. coli and Klebsiella pneumoniae, we can isolate and we can differentiate with the help of this McConkey agar. So you can see the in this picture, you can see the growth of the microorganism. The pink color represents the lactose fermenting bacteria, and this yellow color represents the non-lactose fermenters. So this is one of the example of this lactose and non-lactose fermenters shown in the McConkey agar plate. Enriched medium. Enriched medium refers to the medium with one important ingredient that is required for the microorganisms. So especially blood agar will also come under the category of differential medium and also the enriched medium. So enriched medium can be a broth, or it could be in a solid type also. So it could be as an enrichment agar. It can appear as agar, or it can be available as a broth culture also. Contains a rich supply of special nutrients that promotes the growth of particular organism, enriched medium, while not promoting the growth of the other microbes. So that is, the example for that is blood agar and the chocolate agar. Next is enrichment medium. Enrichment medium encourages the growth of a particular type of microbe. It only improves the growth of a particular type of microbe while inhibiting the growth of the other microorganisms, or just prolonging the lag phase of the unwanted microorganisms. It would not allow the microorganism to enter into the log phase. It will not enter the microorganism to grow into the next phase of the growth. So in the enrichment broth, we can encourage or we can observe the growth of a particular type of microorganism that is wanted or that is required. So example for that is selenite F broth and GN broth, that is gram-negative broth. Selenite F broth is used for the growth of the microorganisms like Shigella for enrichment, and GN broth for the gram-negative microorganisms. Also, there are many cellulose broth that enriches the microorganisms, which degrades the cellulose, and also petroleum broth is used for the microorganisms which could which can be reliable or which can utilize the petroleum source for its growth, like Pseudomonas. Next is selective media. Selective media suppresses the unwanted microbes. In the case of selective media, we can isolate specifically only one microorganism. One species of the microorganisms can be isolated using selective media. So here also it encourages only the desired microbes with the inhibitors to prevent the growth of unwanted microorganisms. So this is convinced, or this is possible by the addition of the inhibitors. Those inhibitors that has been added in the selective media enables or prevents the growth of the unwanted microorganisms and favors the desired organisms. This can be achieved by the addition of antibiotics, dyes, chemicals, or alteration of pH. So the main common examples are Thayer-Martin agar is a common example for the growth of this Neisseria gonorrhoeae, and which is a gram-positive bacteria. It is achieved by the addition of antibiotics like vancomycin, colistin, and nystatin. So next is the mannitol salt agar. Mannitol salt agar, as by the addition of 10% NaCl, it allows only the growth of the organism Staphylococcus aureus. At this concentration of 10% NaCl, the other microorganisms fails to grow in this media, But Staphylococcus aureus is able to withstand the salt condition, allophilic condition, and grows in the mannitol salt agar. So mannitol is a salt that is fermented by the utilizer after the growth in the 10% medium, and it will produce the colonies in the mannitol salt agar, the Staphylococcus aureus. Another example for this medium is selective medium is cetrimide agar. Cetrimide agar is especially used for the growth of Pseudomonas aeruginosa by the addition of antiseptic cetrimide for the growth of the Pseudomonas. Similarly, we have many selective medium for the growth of the microorganisms. One such a common example for that is Salmonella shigella agar. Salmonella shigella agar has got an indicated dye as neutral red. Neutral red is an indicated dye, and the inhibitors are bile salts, brilliant green agar, and sulfur is acting as a sodium thiosulfate is acting as a sulfur source in this one. So what are the inhibitors here for the Salmonella shigella is bile salt and brilliant green agar. This bile salt and brilliant green inhibits the growth of the gram-positive microorganisms and enables only the gram-negative microorganisms to grow in that, especially Salmonella and Shigella. So this Salmonella and Shigella utilizes the sulfide and produces black color colonies. Okay, Salmonella specifically produces sulfide by utilization of the sodium thiosulfate, and colonies appear with black centers in the Salmonella shigella agar. Non-sulfide producers such as Shigella will not utilize sulfur source and will not produce the black centers. Black centers will not be produced. These are indicated, the change in the pH is indicated by the dye neutral red which has been included in that. So this is an example of Salmonella shigella agar. You can see the black centered colonies and also the normal colonies growing in the Salmonella shigella agar. Next example for that is the yeast mannitol salt agar. Yeast mannitol salt agar is utilized. So if yeast extract is there used in this, it is available with readily available amino acids, vitamin B complex, and other necessary growth factors are present in the yeast. And mannitol is used as a fermentable sugar, and other inorganic salts are also used like dipotassium phosphates, magnesium sulfate. These all provides the cations for the growth of the microorganisms. Along with that, sodium chloride is also added. Congo red is acting as a dye that inhibits the growth of the penicillin susceptible strains. Penicillin susceptible strains, especially this gram-positive bacteria, will be inhibited with the help of the dye Congo red that is added in the medium yeast mannitol salt agar. So for especially this is used for the isolation or the cultivation of rhizobium. Rhizobium, you can locate this organism or isolate the organism from the root nodules of the leguminous plants. You take the leguminous plants and wash the leguminous plants, and you can take the legumes of the plant and you can crush it. If you want particularly to isolate the rhizobium from the from that plant, you can use this yeast mannitol salt agar for the cultivation of rhizobium. The growth of the microorganisms can be noted by the white translucent glistening elevated with entire margins. So this is the colony morphology of the organism in the yeast mannitol salt agar. Along with that, we have many types of medium that has been designed particular for the growth of the microorganisms which are useful in the agricultural sectors, like Picoscheia medium. The Picoscheia medium is used for the growth of phosphate solubilizing bacteria. Casein starch agar. Casein starch agar has been especially designed for the growth of actinomycetes. Acetobacter medium for the growth of Acetobacter. Tryptone yeast extract and glucose broth for the growth of Azospirillum. So these specific medium can be utilized for the prompt isolation and for the easy conformation of the microorganisms in that medium. Apart from these type of mediums, we have an assay medium. Assay medium helps to determine the characteristics of the bacteria and also to confirm the species and genera of the bacteria. We have biochemical test. Naturally, we have the common biochemical test like indole methylride Ogis Praskar test and citrate Simon citrate utilization test, which we commonly refer to as which is commonly referred to be as IMBIC test. So, and also apart from this common IMBIC test, we have a specialized test like gelatin agar test, starch agar test, DNase agar test. In this gelatin agar test, it is especially done to isolate the microorganisms which has the capacity to produce the enzyme gelatinase so that it can utilize the gelatin in the assay medium and can hydrolyze the gelatin. So the common example for this gelatin agar test are the microorganisms which could be able to utilize this gelatin is Bacillus anthracis. So Bacillus anthracis can be differentiated from the other species of Bacillus by the utilization of this gelatin and also by the formation of an inverted fruit tree appearance after the utilization of the gelatin in the test tube. Next one is the starch agar. Starch agar is also one of the tests used to differentiate the microorganism, whether the microorganism utilizes the starch in the medium. So starch is used, starch hydrolysis, it is done by the starch hydrolysis test. So Bacillus and a few other organisms also produces the amylase enzyme. That amylase enzyme utilizes the starch present in the medium and causes the hydrolysis. That zone can be differentiated by this starch hydrolysis test, and by that you can differentiate the microorganism whether it utilizes the starch or not. Next is the DNase agar test. Similarly, Staphylococcus aureus has the capacity to hydrolyze the DNA material. So this is used to find out the microorganism Staphylococcus aureus as one of the factors. This DNA test is one of the criteria used to identify the Staphylococcus aureus. And also, apart from this biochemical test, we have many tests like antibiotic susceptibility test, like Muller in antibiotic susceptibility test. Antibiotic susceptibility test is not only as a use in the clinical sectors or in the pharmaceutical sectors, it is also useful in the agricultural sectors to determine whether this whether whatever the metabolite or whatever the product which we have produced, whether it is able to inhibit the growth of the unwanted microorganisms or pathogenic microorganisms of leaves or roots that is affecting the fruits or vegetables. So that is, for that also it is possible to do the test. So especially in the lab assays for the clinical purposes, it is Muller-Hinton agar is used for the antibiotic susceptibility test. So this is a picture showing the inverted fruit tree appearance of the non-motile strains after the utilization of the gelatin, or after the utilization of the gelatin by the production of the gelatinase enzyme in it. So next is the transport media. Transport media is intended to maintain the viability and infectivity of the organism during the period between the collection and cultivation of specimen. So, for example, if the laboratory is far from the sample collection source, then this transport medium is required to make the microorganisms viable for a particular period of time. So for that, this transport media is used. Transport media generally contains buffer and salt. They contain a simple ingredients like buffer and salt, especially it is used for the collection of the samples like Vibrio cholerae, especially to sustain the growth of the microorganisms. Venkataraman Ramakrishna medium is used for the growth, VR medium for the growth of the Vibrio cholerae, and thioglycolate broth for the growth of the strict anaerobes is used. So also that Apart from that, media of different composition has been used for the assays to find out the efficacy of the disinfectants and efficacy of the antibiotics. For all those purposes, different medias are used with prescribed compositions. Example, Muller-Hinton agar for the antibiotics, as I discussed already, methyl red and Voges Prosper broth for the biochemical assays. So, for the cultivation of the anaerobic microorganisms, the media used is the Robertson cooked meat broth. Robertson cooked meat broth is the media that is used for the growth of anaerobic microorganisms. Generally, microorganisms is of two types: aerobic microorganisms and anaerobic microorganisms. Aerobic microorganisms grows only in the presence of oxygens. Anaerobic microorganism does not require the presence of oxygen. So, in order to cultivate the anaerobic microorganisms, Robertson's cooked meat broth is used. The oxygen present in the medium is reduced by the help of the reducing agents like thioglycolate and cysteine. These two things act as a reducing agent and utilize the oxygen that is present already in the medium and make the medium reduced conditions, that is devoid of oxygen, so that the anaerobic microorganisms can be easily grown in the medium. So these are the different types of medium that is available to grow the microorganisms. And to particularly isolate the specific microorganisms, selective media is highly preferable, and it is also easy to identify the microorganisms. We can use these different types of medium for the isolation from different sources, like from soil, water, air, and from the other samples, like even from the clinical samples or even from the veterinary samples also can be used for the growth of these microorganisms.